Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's professional development session on getting your Canvas course ready for next semester. It's about that time. Fall term is rolling down upon us, and you're probably working on your Canvas courses. Hopefully you've finished up with, if you were teaching in the summer, hopefully you've had a chance to finish up and you've got those shells ready to go. But fall, we still have a couple of weeks anyway, a few
Not
weeks.
finished till August 11th for me.
All right, yeah. And then turn around. Okay, so this process, you have a little bit more time for this process between summer and fall sometimes, but there's never enough. Okay, so the first thing you probably gonna want to do, just from an abundance of caution, is back up your last course shell, the ones that you most recently finished, whether it be spring term or summer term. And there are two aspects to that. There's a grade backup and a content backup. The content backup is really from an abundance of caution, because the very next time Canvas loses data from someone's course will be the first time it's happened to us in years, in the years that we've been using Canvas. And before that, with Blackboard, we never had anybody lose a course. Though it is possible for someone to, for instance, get into the wrong shell and decide to clear out the shell, and Canvas will do that. Yes, ma'am, sure enough, you want it blank, we'll make it blank, and you can't get it back. So it's worth having a backup of everything, just in case, before you start working on the next semester. To back up grades in Canvas is very simple. Let's just pull up Canvas here. There it is. Pull that over onto our shared screen here. By the way, you want to be in, hey, George, good to hear from you. You want to be in speaker view in your Zoom client. If you go to the upper right-hand corner of your Zoom screen, there's a button labeled View. If you click on that, you have an option between Gallery and Speaker View, Gallery being the Hollywood Squares view with a bunch of little pictures of everyone. But you want to be in Speaker View because I'm using my video to share these screens with you rather than Zoom screen sharing. And that can make it, if you've got me in one little bitty window, that's going to make it hard to see. Okay, so here's our dashboard. I'm just going to go into a course here that's got some fake grades, so we won't be outing anyone. And to back up your grades, once you're finished with them in Canvas, you can go, of course, to the Grades tool in the course menu. And in the grade book, there's an Actions button right here. If you click on that, you have an option to export the entire grade book. You just select that, and Canvas exports the grade book, packages it in a comma-separated value file, which is a type of Excel or spreadsheet data file that you can open in Excel. And then it will save that file to your hard drive. Depending on how you have your browser set up, it will either just save it into your downloads library and put it right at the top, or if you've told your web browser to ask you where to put downloaded files from the internet, it will bring up a file save box like this, and you choose where you want to put it. And I going to put that in my downloads. I am going to put that in my downloads library, but I have a separate folder in there for this stuff. Let's see, Canvas grade exports. Oh, there it is, Canvas grades. I'll just open that up. And now I can save this grade export somewhere where I can find it again. Note that this gives you the date that you saved it and the short name of the course, which in this one happens to be ISCD3. Yours are more expansive than that and more informative, but it'll tell you when you did the backup and what course you backed it up from. So if you go looking at this file later, you'll be able to tell what's in it. And then you just save the file and it downloads.
Dave, is
Yes.
there an easy way to tell it where to put it? I've never done that before.
It varies with the web browser. Every web browser is a little different. The browser I'm using here is Chrome, which is probably the one that works best with Canvas and with most things. Chrome is by far the most commonly used web browser in the world. And when people test their software in web browsers, they test it in Chrome first, and sometimes they don't go any further. So Chrome is a safe bet for most anything.
Yeah, I have that one. Mhm.
So to tell Chrome to ask you where to put downloaded files, you go to the Chrome master menu in the far upper right corner, the 3 vertical dots in the far upper right, just below the X on a Windows machine, or just in the far upper right on a Mac, and click on that menu button and go to Downloads in the Chrome menu, Chrome setup menu. And let's see, then we'll go, shoot, that's not actually, oh, they change these things all the time. Just a second, let me try this again. Let's go to settings. Okay. And go to download. Okay. I swear this has changed since the last time I did this. Apparently Chrome has updated itself. You go to settings, as you saw in the Chrome master menu, and then you have a little hamburger here in the upper left-hand corner, a master menu. The 3 horizontal lines parallel to one another. You click on that and go to the downloads link. I hope we'll find out. Yes, that's what I want. And the default location to save files is your downloads folder, though you can change that. But the easiest thing to do is just tell Chrome to ask where to save each file before downloading. Just turn that on. If this is turned on, then Chrome will ask you where to put the file.
Where was settings again? I'm sorry.
No problem. Let's do that again. You go to the master menu, Chrome master menu in the upper right-hand corner, go to settings.
Oh, I get it. In the same place. Okay, got it.
Right.
Mhm.
And then go to the hamburger under settings. This didn't used to be here. And go to downloads in there. Used to be you went to downloads in the master menu.
Yeah.
Let you do this at the top. Nothing's the same. So
Thank you.
then
That's
you've got
great.
this option to tell Chrome to put the file where you want it instead of where it wants to put it.
Where else would you put it besides downloads?
Well, you can put it, certainly you'd want to put it in your downloads folder, but you probably want a subfolder that has all of your grade exports in it,
Yeah.
so that you don't have to go looking through all the other stuff you've downloaded to find it. Okay, so that's all there is to backing up the grades. Here's what the backup looks like. Let me pull that up. I got rid of my little download biscuit there, so I just have to go looking for it. That's not a problem. I go to downloads. There it is. The Canvas grades folder. Just open that up. And here's the one I just did on August 3rd. And if I double click that, it will open in Excel, because Excel is the program that, if you have Excel, is the program that is linked to CSV or comma separated value files. If you use some other spreadsheet, you might have to load it manually. But here are all your grades and your student data and so on, all your enrollments and your grades, including final letter grades if you computed those and so on. So you can save this away in a safe place on your hard drive, back it up somewhere. And if you get a frantic call from a student some night and your internet's down, you've got your grade book from your last semester, or from that course from last semester, and you go in and look and say, well, you made a 50 on the final, so that wasn't consistent with you making an A, and so on. So that's how you back up your grades and keep them safe indefinitely without having to get back into Canvas. All righty. Now let's go back to the dashboard. To back up the content in your course, just in case, like maybe there's something in that course that you don't have anywhere else, and you're afraid that something might happen to that course. Quite frankly, the only thing that will happen to that course is you. The only way you're going to lose content out of a Canvas course is if you go in and delete it. But I've done that. So I wouldn't be entirely sure that you couldn't do that either, and mistakenly. And it's nice to have an ace in the hole, a backup copy of all your content. And that's easy and quick to do in Canvas. So I might as well have it. To back up, let me back up that same course. To back the content of the course up, you go to the settings link in the course menu, the last one. And click on settings. That takes you to the settings page. And then you go to export course content in the task menu on the right-hand side of the settings page. I've done this a bunch examples. So once you start that, you get this message says the export process has started. This can take a while for large courses. This is not a large course, so it won't take very long. You can leave the page, you'll get an email when the export's complete, so you don't have to sit here and wait for it to export. And you can trust Canvas that it will export it. And there is a progress bar that goes across the bottom here, but it doesn't tend to tell you a lot. So rather than wait for this, when this finishes, you'll get a new export link here that says new export. But I happen to have an old export here that's the same thing, that I'll just show you what it looks like. And click there. I can download this export. This is a file you can't open up. It is a compressed file, like a zip file, but not exactly the same. It's a file that can only be read by Canvas. So save this and save it in a location where you can find it. I put it in my downloads folder, and I've got a Canvas course exports folder. And this has the title of the course, so you'll know that it's an export, and there'll be a date stamp on it that tells you when you created the file here. So you just save that, and this one's already exists. I'm going to update it, and bingo. I've got a course export that should the need arise, I can get a blank shell in Canvas. You can have a blank shell anytime you want it. You just go to Canvas help and add and call the 800 number or the toll-free number that is manned 24/7 and say, I want a development shell for such and such a course, and they'll make one for you. Then you can go into that course and you can import the course export file into that, and you'll have all of your content back to where you can get to it. And I think I saw George say something. Yes. What this archives is your content, not any course submissions, assignment submissions, or anything like that. So you need to be aware of that. But again, those are never going to be lost. Canvas has never lost one bit of data from student submissions in one course that we are aware of. And you can't delete those. So there's no way that's ever going to happen. You don't have to worry about that kind of content, but you could delete some of your course, some of your lecture notes or your PowerPoint presentations or your videos or whatever the instructional content is that you have in your course. And this is an ace in the hole against that. The odds of it happening are very, 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 very small, but it only takes a moment to run the backup. Once you're done with the course and all the grades are in and everything, it only takes a minute to run the backup and save it on your hard drive. So it's worth doing. I mentioned development shells briefly. If you're starting development for the next term, or especially if you're starting development on a course you haven't taught before or don't have a shell for in Canvas, you're going to want to work in a development shell, which is just when you get it, it's just a blank Canvas shell. But it's a shell that is not under the control of PeopleSoft, of the administrative student information system. No one has access to a development shell except you or a system administrator, and we promise we will never mess with your development shells. So this is a shell that will never have students in it, that no one else will ever see, and that no one else can impact. So it's a good place to create a new course. If you're just updating a previous semester's course, it's a good idea just to copy the content from that previous semester's course into this development shell and then update it there. And then a week or so before the beginning of the term, or somewhere around that, of the next term, you copy the content from the development shell into the live teaching shell that you're going to use next semester. The one that actually has will have the students in it, or already does have students enrolled in it, even though they don't have access to it yet. And this is necessary not because of a problem with Canvas, but because of issues with PeopleSoft, the administrative system that runs your portal and so on. And you want to blame someone for that, you can blame me for that. I was on that committee. I'm not going to tell you how I voted, but I was on that committee. So I share some culpability. But PeopleSoft has some issues with changes made to course records in PeopleSoft, where they, the information about your course section for that semester, the CRN and all that. If any of that is changed, the integration process that automatically creates your teaching shells in Canvas from course records in PeopleSoft wipes out if there's already a teaching shell there, it wipes out the teaching shell that's there and puts a new one in its place. If they have to like change a CRN or a time or make any edits on a course record in PeopleSoft, it's going to clobber your teaching shell and replace it in Canvas. And if you spent hours and hours and hours and hours developing your content and getting everything just right in that teaching shell, and somebody makes a change in PeopleSoft, it's all gone. And we've had a couple of faculty members nearly have a stroke over that. So we don't want you to have any ischemic events on Canvas's behalf. So please work in a development shell up to about a week. They're unlikely to make any changes in the last week before the beginning of the term. We can get the data back if that ever happens to you. If you think you've waited long enough and you haven't, we can get the data back, but it's difficult. It takes some time. And again, that sinking feeling you get when yesterday you had this beautifully developed shell and you go in and it's a blank shell again. You want to avoid that feeling if you possibly can. Because your development shells can't be touched by changes in PeopleSoft. And to get a development shell, all you have to do is go, nope, that's not it. Too many windows here. Is to go to the Canvas Help menu and either call the faculty support hotline at 844-612-7422 any time of the day or night, or go on to Canvas Chat, faculty chat. Just between you and me. So that's all there is to get a development shell. You can have as many development shells as you want anytime you want them. They'll ask you a couple of questions to verify that you're a faculty member at the San Diego Community College District. Then they'll ask you what course you want the development shell for, and they'll make it for you. So no sweat on getting development shells, and it's worth it. Okay, so one way or another at the beginning of a new semester, you're going to have to copy the content from either a previous live shell or a development shell into your new teaching shells, because when they are created, your new teaching shells are blank. That's the way the system works. There's no way to avoid that. So you're going to have to do a course copy in order to get your teaching shell for next semester set up. And there are three scenarios we're going to talk about. One is a complete course content copy from a course that's on our system, which is going to be 98%+ of the time. Another possibility is that you want to copy all the content from a course that's on another Canvas system at another district. And that comes up fairly frequently. I know a lot of you teach adjunct at other community colleges in the area, all of which have Canvas. So if you have a course shell that you have developed on, say, Southwestern's Canvas system, there's no reason for you to have to develop it from scratch again on our system. You can copy that content into our system, into a shell, a development shell or a live shell, and not have to do all the development work over again. And occasionally you'll get into a situation where you've copied all of your content and suddenly realized there was something missing from the shell that you copied from, and there was a few things in another shell that you needed in this current teaching shell. You can also copy selected content from one Canvas shell to another. And we're going to see how to do all three real quick, because it's a very quick process. So I need a blank shell here. I'll go back to my dashboard. Canvas being a little deliberate there. And I've got, let's see. Okay, here's a development shell sandbox. I'll use that. This has content in it from a previous demonstration, but I'm going to show you something else you can do. If you have a shell that you'd like to recycle that you already have, you can do it this way. You can go to settings in the shell and go to the right hand to this task menu over here on the right again. And you can select reset course content. That's short for delete all the content in this shell and throw it away, and I can't ever get it back. So you click reset course content, you get this big red button and a warning. If you do this, you'll permanently delete everything that's in this shell, and you can't, and nobody can get it back. So be very careful using this tool. Make sure you are in the right shell before you do this. This is one of those reasons why you should have a offline backup of your course content in case someday, real late at night and you haven't had enough coffee and you're deleting stuff from shells and you delete the wrong shell. It has happened. I think I'm in the right place. Look, yeah, I'm in the right place. Okay, so reset course content. And now this is just a blank shell. That's what a blank Canvas shell looks like when you get it. All right. First scenario. This is my teaching shell. I want to copy my content from my development shell into here. And the development shell is on the SDCCD Canvas system. All of the colleges and continuing ed at the San Diego Community College system use this district, use the same Canvas system. It's all one big system. So to copy content from a development or an old live shell into a new live shell, you first have to be in the blank shell, in the new teaching shell, the shell that has no content in it, the shell that you've just received, the so-called target shell. I'm saying that as many different ways as I can, because this is a question we get all the time. Well, gee, I just did my course copy and nothing worked. Nothing changed. And we ask, where were you when you started the copy? Well, I was in my development shell when I started the copy. No, what you just did was copy a blank shell into your development shell. Didn't hurt your development shell to do that, thank goodness. One of the earlier LMSs we had, if you did something like that, it wiped out the target. It wiped out the shell that you started in. So that doesn't happen in Canvas. It's better designed, but you have to start this process in the blank shell, in the new shell, the new teaching shell, and go to settings. And over here, this task menu over here on the right, we go to import course content. And we have to select content type. If we are doing a copy from a shell on our system, and this shell is on our system, we select copy a Canvas course, the first option. Then you're asked for the name of the course from which you wish to copy. If you have just a few courses in your account, in your Canvas account, you'll see a list of them here, and you can just pick the one you want to copy from. If you've got as many as I do, and some of you have more by now, because I recognize some of you, you've been around here a long time. So you may have too many courses for them to appear in a list here. So you have to start typing, the name of the course. I'm going to copy a course called Learn to Screencast, just because I remember the name of that one. So I type learn and just start typing. And there it is, it pops up. And I select that one. And in this scenario, we're going to copy all of the content, which is what you'll usually do from one course to another. You have an option to automatically adjust events and due dates. I don't recommend it. You're more likely to end up with a mess in most cases, and then end up having to clean it up manually. It's easier just to manually do it in the first place. There's a quick and easy way to adjust dates and event dates in your new copy. So, and I'll show you that today. So we go to once we made those selections, we click import, and the process runs automatically. You don't have to sit here and wait for this to happen. You can see it happening. You see the progress meter there. If this were a bigger course, a lot of content in it, this would take longer. You don't have to sit here and wait for it to finish. You can just leave this page and go and come back later, and you'll see this. You'll see a course, a job, a copy job that is completed. And it tells you it copied from the course Learn to Screencast. If that all looks good, you just go home. You can't tell if the copy is completed here other than that little completed symbol, but you just go to home and you'll see your course content. Bang, bing, bang, boom. It's done. Takes the second time you do it takes 30 seconds of your work. May take longer for the copy to finish, but 30 seconds of your work and you're done. And you just go and do something else until the copy's done. Okay. What if the course you wanted to copy was not on our system? Well, you're going to do something that I've already shown you how to do. Let's go back to my dashboard here and go to this same course learned. Let's say this is on Southwest system. I go into my course shell on Southwest system that has the content in it that I want to move over into a shell on the San Diego Community College District system. I go to, and we've done this before. As a matter of fact, we do exactly the same thing you do to back up the course. You go to settings, the course menu, you export course content. And you choose either a course or a quiz backup. You want the course backup. This is a way to export quizzes. Canvas will allow you to do two types of export, either the entire course or just the quizzes, or any one quiz even. And then you can import that into another course. But there are other ways to do that. So we're going to do a complete course export. We'll just create the export. Same process. This is going a little faster. And in a moment, I have this link for a new export. By the way, don't worry about this. Content export files can't be downloaded after 30 days. By the time they age 30 days, you don't need them. You just make another export. But there's my one that I just made that's current. If I click on that link, then because I have Chrome configured to ask me where to put this file, it asks me where to put it. Here's my Canvas course exports folder. I'm already in there from having done this a little earlier. So I save that And that file is saved on my hard drive somewhere where I can find it again. The only real likelihood of failure in this is forgetting where you put it. Ask me how I know that. Okay, now to import that into our target shell again, I'll just go back to my dashboard here. Come on. And I'll go down to that shell I was playing with before. I have way too many shells. There it is. I'll let me go in and clean that one out again. Reset course content, reset. Now I'm going to import course content. And the only difference in this process versus what we just did is that instead of selecting copy a Canvas course, we're going to import a Canvas course export package, which is what we made when we backed up the course. Then we have to choose the file that has our content in it. That's where we have to go and find that downloaded content on our hard drive. It's in that folder. And let's see, here's the one I just did. August 3rd, 6:39 p.m. I select the export file that I want to import and click open. Again, I want all content. And I just click import. It uploads the export file and proceeds to do the import. It's running nice and fast now. But again, you can leave this and come back. And in a moment, hopefully it will be done. This one says it had 2 issues. It's worth checking those by clicking on where it says 2 issues. Security parameters for the Turtle Flipgrid need to be set. These are external tools that I've added to this course that I may have to fix. Fine. Almost those issues are almost never something you have to worry about. All right, it's completed. I look, and there's my course content again. Only this time it came from, theoretically, it came from a course on another system. The third scenario we talked about involves there being something in this course, or there's something missing in this course that you need from yet another shell, a third shell. And you want to copy just an item or 2, or 3 or 4, or however many, but some subset of the content in another course shell into this shell. Again, you start in the target shell, the shell into which you're going to copy the content. Go to settings and import course content. Again, makes sense. Same process. And depending on whether you're going to copy from a course on our system or from an export package that you've downloaded from another school system, it doesn't matter which, either one will work. Let's say I'm going to copy from a course that's on this system. Now, as before, I have to search for the name of that course. Let's do SCD. Yeah, there it is. And this time, instead of selecting all content, obviously enough, I'll select the option for select specific content. And then I just do the import. And I get this button here that says select content. I click on that, and Canvas brings up a menu of content that is in the source course, the one from which I'm going to copy, that ISCD3 course. And let's say there was a module in this course that I wanted. I can open up, I could copy all the modules if I wanted to by just selecting that checkbox. But let's say I want a particular module. I've got this PowerPoints module I want to copy. I click that, and I can select anything else. Maybe there's a quiz in here that I want that I don't have anywhere else. And I just select whatever content items I want, expanding the categories and looking for particular things. Maybe I want a question bank. So I can select whatever I want here. And then at the very bottom of that window is another button that says select content, which is kind of redundant. You might say, well, I thought I was doing that. Well, you were, but instead of saying execute or something like that, it says select content again. What can I tell you? You click the blue button labeled select content, and the copy happens very, very, very quickly because you're only copying a few things. We'll go back home here. There's the copy. Let's see, what was that quiz named? Sample quiz, right? Let's see if that's in there. Yep, there it is. So we got that content that we didn't have in the other, presumably we didn't already have in this course. So that's all there is to making a selected copy in Canvas. All right, we've just gone through all this. Here's a little summary of that. Import course content. Content type is copy a Canvas course if the two courses are on the same system. If you're copying from another system, you export the content from the remote system and then select the Canvas import package or Canvas export package import option. And we just went through the selected content. When you have finished the copy, of course, all your content will be there and everything should be pretty much ready to go in that regard. But many of your assignments, that is your homework assignments, your quizzes, and your graded discussions, if you have any, will have due dates and availability dates associated with them. And those will be copied over wrong in all probability, unless you went into the development shell and you set all the dates correctly for the next semester, then they'll come over and you don't have to do anything after other than check the dates in the new copy. But if you copied from a previous live shell, you'll have last semester's dates in there, and you don't want that, obviously. So how can you adjust dates manually using the edit assignments dates page? This is a lot easier than it used to be. We've had this functionality for about 3 years now, I guess, in Canvas. Used to be you had to go into each assessment and each homework assignment, bring it up, you had to edit it, and you had to change the dates. Then you had to go to the next assignment and change the dates there. But now we can do this all on one page in Canvas. And here's how we do that. We're in our course shell where we just copied the content in. This is our new teaching shell. So I go to the assignments tool in the course menu, assignments. And there's this double secret menu up here in the upper right-hand corner that is not labeled, that you just have to click on to see what's in it. It's the 3 vertical dots tell you it's a menu, but they don't tell you what it's for. If I click that, though, I have a couple of options, but the one that we're really interested in right now is labeled Edit Assignment Dates. I click that, and I get all of my assignment dates. Well, let's see here. What is that doing to me? Oh, I know, because I've got this magnified too far. This is what it'll look like. I think you can still see that okay. Each assessment has its own line. And there are 3 columns for due date, available from date, and available until date. You can go through and you can change those due dates. Chris, yeah. Oh no, you've been doing this one assignment at a time. I'm sorry. Yeah, this was really exciting when we first got it. There was a lot of celebrating. To change a date, you just click on the little calendar icon. Or yeah, do auto change, and then you have to clean it all up, right? Well, you can clean it all up here too. You just, to change a date, you just click on the little calendar icon and change the date. And if you have 2 that have the same due date, you can even copy and paste the dates. I can copy that, and I can go to the next one and highlight it and paste. And you can change them in a hurry that way. And you can fix all the dates on all of your assignments on one page. And you can take what used to take 2 or 3 hours. It will take maybe, depending on the size of the course, anywhere from about 15 minutes to 30 minutes or so to update all your dates. Let's see, I don't think, yeah, what you can't do is update the times here. If you have very specific times, I think you have to do that by going into the individual assignment. But you can change the dates very quickly. And chances are you want the same times anyway. So, all right, so that one saves an awful lot of time. Never knew what that menu was for until I looked at that. And here's what it, here's that, a screenshot of that page again. There's also the possibility of creating course merges. This is something that will be of interest to you if you are teaching more than one section of the same course in the same semester. When Canvas is set up for the next semester, you'll get a blank Canvas shell for each of those sections, separate. And the students from one section will be populated into one of the shells. The students from the other section will be populated into the other one. So you're going to have 2 shells that you have to manage throughout the term. That's not the end of the world, because you can always copy the content from your development shell into both shells. You know, you don't have to, or copy it into one shell and then a teaching shell, and then copy from that teaching shell into the other teaching shell. You don't have to, you know, create the content in those 2 or more sections of the same course shell, or the same course, from scratch. But inevitably during the term, you're going to add content or edit content in your course as you find minor mistakes or new content comes to light. You want to share it with your students. And for the rest of the term, if you're managing 2 shells, you have to do everything twice. You have to update the 2 shells separately. Merging those 2, merging the enrollments from those 2 will save you from having to do that. You can do this, or you can cause this to happen by requesting it from Canvas support, the same place where you went to get development shells. You just go to the Canvas course menu, go to the Help button in the Global Access menu, the gray bar on the left, go to the dial the hotline number or go to the chat and say that you want two courses, the enrollment for two or more shells merged for the same course. And you identify yourself again, you provide them with the CRNs of the two different course sections, and you tell them which one you want to make the master shell into which everyone is put. And then they run the course merge, or cross list as it's called in Canvas. And the two, and then when they're done, all of the students in both sections in PeopleSoft have access to the same Canvas shell. We get around FERPA violations that way because they're in different virtual sections within the same shell. You can see them all, but they can't see one another. A student from one class section can't see a student from the other class section, and so on. So it's legal to do this, and it saves you a lot of work, makes things a lot simpler in the long run. Well, generally simpler in the long run. So that's an option, and you don't have to know how to do it. We used to, on Blackboard, we used to ask faculty to do this for themselves for the longest time. And it's real easy to mess up. Even those of us who have done it many times have been known to merge the shells the wrong way and things like that and end up with chaos. So we find it's better just to have Canvas support do this for us. And we pay them for it, so they darn well do it for you. And it usually they'll do it while you wait, and then you're ready to move forward, and you only have one shell to manage moving forward. And finally, something we really hope you will not forget to do, because we all suffer if you do. You have to publish your Canvas course before your students can have access to it on the first day of the term. It's a super simple process, as I'm sure you're aware. You've done it before. But the hard thing can be remembering to do it. If you don't, we get phone calls, you get phone calls and emails and things like that. Well, my course shell's not there. I swear I'm signed up for it. You know, the students are nervous enough already. And if suddenly their course is not available to them and they don't see it on their dashboard at 8 o'clock in the morning on the first day of class, they get pretty torqued. Not unreasonably. So all you have to do is remember the night before is the best time to publish your course. And you just click that button, turns green, and you're good to go. Your students, right after midnight on the first day of the course term, will have access to the course. And everybody will be happy. One last, yes, please.
Can't you do that from the shell, you know?
Yeah, you have to do it from the shell.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, when you go on the dashboard and then your shell, it's a certain color. And it says, can you do it from there? I thought I did.
Yes, yes, you can, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Let me get back to that. If we go to the dashboard, and if I scroll down to my unpublished shells here, the unpublished shells have a little publish button.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can do it from there as well.
Okay.
Okay. It's a little safer to do it from within the shell because you're looking at you're in the right shell. You don't publish something.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's not a big deal. You know, you can unpublish a shell as long as no student has submitted something into that shell, like made a post in a discussion topic or turned in an assignment or something like that. Until that happens the first time, you can always unpublish the course. And I've had to do that once or twice when I found a mistake at the last minute and students were already in there, but they hadn't submitted anything yet. I just cut them off. I just unpublished it for a few minutes, fixed the problem, and then published it again. And mostly nobody was the wiser. But once somebody submits something, that's it. You can't unpublish it anymore. All right. You can communicate with your students through Canvas even before the beginning of the term. You can do this through the inbox tool in your Canvas Global Access menu. Your students are enrolled in the course as they register. About within 4 hours after they register for a course, they're populated or enrolled in the Canvas shell. They don't have access to the shell yet because they're not published. But if you go in and look in your grade book or look in your roster, you'll see them in there. You can use Canvas, and this has come up a number of times, to communicate with your students before the beginning of the term. What you have to do is publish the shell momentarily. Just publish it, go right to the inbox tool in the Global Access menu, send a message to everyone in the class or to selected students in the class, usual inbox tools, the usual Canvas messaging stuff, and then go back and unpublish the course as soon as the message has been sent. The chances of anybody getting in and doing anything in that short interval are infinitesimal. So this is a way to very easily communicate with your students ahead of time. And I know some of you like to do that. I certainly did. I always like to start annoying my students as early as possible.
So they don't have to go on Canvas in order to get the message?
Well, you bring up a point. There is a possible fallacy in this, in that they can't get into Canvas and look at their Canvas messages, but in about 85 to probably 95+% of the time, the students' notification settings in Canvas, if they're left at the defaults, will cause that Canvas message to be forwarded to their personal email.
I get it. Thank you.
In the you might have to, if you really want to do a lot of communicating, it's really critical stuff, you might want to send a general message by another means to your students saying, go into the notification settings and turn on the setting that says to forward Canvas messages to your personal email, because I'm going to be communicating with you that way. And we have a tutorial to show them how to do that. If you want the link to that, just email me and I'll send it to you. And it's very simple for them to change. And like I say, 95% of the time, it's already set that way. So that will allow you to communicate with them early. And that the tool that you use, I've heard in the portal to do that is quite, try to be kind, idiosyncratic. It can be problematic. So Canvas will be much easier to use. And finally, you have the right, by default, your students, if you've published the course, your students will gain access to the course at right after midnight on the first day of the course term. That is the first day that the course is beginning. If it's a midterm course or something, it doesn't start till the middle of the term, they won't be able to get in on the first day of the term. They'll have to wait until the first day of the second half of the term, and so on. But they will automatically gain access to your course at that time, at the beginning of the early in the morning of the first day of the course term. You can change that. You can let them in anytime, and you can let them stay late. If you have people finishing up work and you don't want them to have taken incomplete, you want to give them another couple of days after the end of the term, you can do that. You do that by going to the settings page, as you might imagine, in Canvas that we've been in and out of all night. Have to be in a course here. And I need something that has dates on it. Let me see. I think this one does. That wasn't it. That one's not published. Where is it? I think that's it. Go to the settings page. On the course details tab, you scroll down, there's a start and an end date that's set automatically. The start date by default is the first day of the course term. The end date is the last day of the term overall, or the course term. That information is pulled from PeopleSoft when the shell is created. But you can edit this, and you can give students access early or late by editing these. And that is your prerogative. For many years, we were prevented from giving you that option by student services. And then the guard changed in student services, and I said, go ahead. So you now have that capability. And I've known a lot of faculty who wanted to give their students a chance to look at the course early, at least start reading material and things like that if they wanted to, not to force them to, but if they wanted to get a head start, let them go ahead and do so. So you have that is your prerogative, or not, as you choose. And I believe that is it. That is the end of the slideshow. All right, let me start that over again, just so I have that page up there. And ask for questions. You've already had some good ones.
What's the easiest way to make the home page your main page or whatever, front page? I know
to make a front page in your course.
Yeah,
that is one of the less intuitive things in Canvas. I got to give you that. First time I learned to do that, it took me quite some time, and I exercised my vocabulary. Okay, we go home here. This one already has a home page, or opening page. But let me go. I think I've got a course here that is not set that way. Let's see. How about the Canvas Studio Sandbox? Okay, by default, if you don't do anything, the first thing the students see when they enter the course are the modules, which is not a bad default, because that's where they're going to start. They start at the top of the first module and work their way down to the bottom of the last one. They're done, right? So that's a good thing. But it's not real welcoming. It's not real engaging. And there's no information there from you unless you put it in a module for them to hit. So if you want an opening page for your course, a home page, you have to first create the page and then set it as the course entry point for the course. You do the first thing, you create the page by going to the Pages tool in your course menu. And let's see if I've got one. You add a page. And you create a welcome page here, or a home page, or an opening page. And you save it. Let's see if I already have one. Save us all some time. I think I might have one here. Doesn't even have to be the right one. Let's see. No, I'm not sure I do. Let's see. Oh, let's say you wanted this to be your opening page, just for the heck of it. Once you create your home page in the rich content editor in the usual way, you open up the Pages tool, and if you have to, you tell it that you want to view all pages. And then you go to the you find the page that you want to use as your home page, and you go out to the right along the line, the detail line for that page, and you'll find a context menu at the far right with 3 vertical dots. You click on that, and there are several options there, including deleting the page or editing it or duplicating it, sending it to another faculty member, copying it to another course, whatever. But there's also an option to use this as your front page. So you select that, and you think, if you were me, I'm done. I got a opening page. So if I go back to the home link and click on it, I'm going to see that page. Nope. It's a 2-step process. They don't tell you that. At this point, I said something to the effect of, I blankety thought I did that. But now I have this task menu. If you click on home, you as the instructor have this task menu over here. And one of those options in that task menu is choose homepage. Did I already do that? Apparently not. What this should say is choose course entry point. I guess that was too many words. I don't know. Because this is how you choose what the students are going to see first when they enter the course. The default is to have the course modules appear. And that's what's selected in a new blank shell or a new shell when you get it. The other options are course activity stream. We'll go into that. The assignments list, the syllabus tool in Canvas, not necessarily your syllabus, or the front or the page that has been designated as the front page, which is what we want most of the time. So we select that and click Save. And then the home page is what comes up first. In this case, I have a video on it. Does that answer your question? And are you comfortable with it?
Yes, thank you. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, that's
It always makes me crazy.
Here's an example.
oh, it does me too.
Of the type of ad hoc instructional video production you can do with that video studio you carry in your pocket, your smartphone. This is the North Road in Yellowstone National Park.
We live about 7 hours or so from maybe 8 hours from the west entrance to Yellowstone. So we're very fortunate in that regard. But anyway, I think that's how you create a front page that students see. And you can, of course, put anything you want on that page because that rich content editor is very powerful. You can create a Canvas page that has just any sort of information in it you want to provide the students with. You could, in fact, put your whole course on that page if you wanted to, but it's not considered good practice. Okay. How about another question? I got all the time you need.
Hey, Dave, it's Robert.
Hey, Robert.
So how you doing? Hey, so
good to see you.
I forgot about the development shells and I created my real shells.
Yeah, oh, in your teaching shell.
Yeah,
It's
so can I
sitting
just go ahead and, can I just go ahead and import the content into the development shell?
Yeah.
Just to be safe?
That was going to be my recommendation.
Okay.
Run, do not walk to your
Okay.
computer. Ask for a development shell and copy what you've done in your teaching shell into the development shell. Then it will be safe.
Okay.
If something terrible that happens to your teaching shell, you'll be able to copy the content back.
Okay. Cool.
You had the solution already, yeah.
Okay.
But don't delay on that.
Now I have some development shells. I just never knew that process that we were supposed to populate those.
You want to make sure the development shell is blank before you copy the stuff into it. Otherwise, you'll end up with a mishmash of content from 2 different courses. And you can always reset the development shell using that tool I showed you, but be sure you're in the right development shell before you do that. Maybe a cup of coffee would be in order before you do that.
Okay.
I have a question when
Good.
Robert's done. Are you done, Robert?
I'm done.
Okay. All right. I do not teach online. I taught last spring and I used Canvas to supplement my course.
Great.
The 2 years before that, I was unemployed because I don't teach online. So
Yeah.
I've got limited experience with Canvas. I don't even remember if I did 1 or 2 semesters. But going back to Blackboard, I'm not asking you about Blackboard, but I had a student contact me through Blackboard and everybody could see what she wrote. So I have been gun shy and I tell my students, contact me by campus email,
I'm
not
not sure what might have
Canvas.
happened there, but I can assure you that if the student sends you a Canvas message, you will be the only one who can see it.
Okay,
Okay, you don't have to worry about that. Those Canvas messages are personal. Now, if the student were to post something in a discussion forum,
I think she did.
well, yeah, that,
I mean, it's been a while.
that's user error on
And
her
I'm not,
part.
well, I'm not.
You're
on
not
Canvas that
responsible
much.
for that. But
So, Can you
if she
show
sends
us
you a
where,
Canvas message, that is personal.
okay, show us where that is, please.
Sure will. The inbox tool is in your, the inbox tool is not associated with any one course. It's associated with your account as a
Okay.
whole. So you don't find it in the course menu, you find it in the global access or system menu, the gray bar on the left. You see this on almost every Canvas page. And the tool you want is the inbox tool. So labeled right there. It's like email, but it ain't email. It's an internal messaging system within Canvas. Though Canvas will forward, as I mentioned earlier, will forward Canvas messages that you receive to your personal inbox, your personal email inbox, if you allow it to do so in your notification settings.
Okay,
And
because I
almost
know
everybody
I've got,
has that set that way. But anyway, to use the inbox tool, you just click on inbox and you'll see all the messages that you've received from the students in all of your courses that are currently running. And they just appear, it's kind of like Outlook. They appear there. You can read them. There's one from Ardith, who sent me an email, Canvas message some time ago. And I can read the message. I can reply to it. And it operates like email, but it's all inside Canvas until it hits the other person's inbox. When it hits their inbox, if they have not changed their notification settings in Canvas, it's also going to be forwarded to their personal email. When you want to send an email message, or if you want to look at messages only from a particular course, you can go to this box right here and select the course from which you want to receive, you want to view emails. I apparently didn't have any from that course. Let's see. There were some from this one. Okay, so I can look for messages, course by course, but the default is to show the received messages from all courses. When you send a message, you have to send to a particular course. You can't send to all courses at once. That could generate an email storm inside the system. So here's your compose button. It's the square with a little pencil sticking diagonally in it. And it's not labeled. You just have to mouse over it and it shows you that that's compose a new message. Let me blow this up a little bit. There we go. You do have to select the course in which the student or students you wish to communicate with are enrolled. So you can have favorite courses, you can have all your courses. So I can, let me pick a course here that I know has some students in it. This one does. Then I have to tell Canvas to whom I wish to send the message. You do that by clicking on this little icon at the far end of the to line here, this recipient selection icon. It doesn't even have a tooltip. You just click on that and you get a dialog box that allows you to send either to teachers or to students in this course. I'll say I want to send to students, one or more students. I select students. Then I have an option to send to all students, or I can select individual students to whom to send.
So that's where, if we want to say, hey, I'm not going to make it to our 8 o'clock class this morning, class is canceled,
You'd send it to everybody.
send it to everybody. Okay,
I'd also put an announcement in the
Yeah.
course as well. But this is how you send personal messages. Announcements are great for messages that are meant for everyone. The strength of the inbox tools allows you to communicate personally with your students.
now
And only the students to whom you send the message will see it. And indeed, if you select this box here that says send an individual message to each recipient, this is in effect a blind carbon copy. So not only will each student get the message, will only the students that you've selected get the message, but also they won't know to who else you sent the message.
okay,
So
so
they can't respond to them and so on.
I remind students that whatever email they have on file with the school is the one I'll be sending emails to.
Right. And I have some good news for you on that front. You may have
Yeah.
heard already. IT
No.
is getting ready to roll out student email with an SDCCD, student.sdccd.edu
Oh,
address. And that will be the de facto official email that everyone will use to communicate with students.
I'm ready to have them show us how to use this new email.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
That's going to be
weird.
part of that process. Yeah.
It's weird. So anyway,
Yeah.
which is more dependable for the students for me to know that the students got my announcement
Right.
in my email? Use the campus email through the,
Yeah, because it's not unknown for a student to have an email address associated with their account in Canvas that they no longer use. That's an old email address and they've never
well, they
bothered.
do with their regular, but if I go into, not PeopleSoft, but you know, the regular, where the
Well,
class schedule is and
The
all the
portal
students.
is just your interface to PeopleSoft. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Canvas. I
No, it
use
ain't
that
Canvas.
one. No, I mean, I want to explain what I use. I use the one where you pull down the class
Right.
all the enrolled students, and then, you know, email to everybody. That's what I use. Is that more, less, or no different than sending email to Canvas?
It's fine. It's even more up to date by 4 hours anyway. It has been problematic in the past for some people, but if it's working for you, I'd use it fine. But a lot of people have had trouble with that. And
I
have
haven't.
used Canvas.
I understand it.
Gotcha. All right,
Canvas,
if it's
I've
working
done-
for you, go for it.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. How about another question? Anybody?
Okay, then let's, go
I checked
ahead,
my-
Carol.
Oh, sorry. I checked my fall shell and they have not populated the names of the people who have registered yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure when that starts.
Mhm.
It's a process they have to kick off.
Yeah, probably a couple.
I don't
weeks.
think it's, yeah, I don't think it's
Early.
been initiated yet.
No,
You'll just go in there one morning, there'll be a bunch of students in your roster.
yeah,
I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but it'll be pretty soon.
yeah.
The reason I don't do that early is there's so much dropping and adding, and that can cause problems. So they wait until things settle down a little bit before they actually let PeopleSoft start pushing the student names into the teaching shells.
That's the other reason that I use the campus email,
Yeah, that may be
because-
available before the roster and canvases. That's correct.
It is, because Hank Beaver and I really worked hard to get the right to send emails to students the week before school
Cool.
started.
Thanks, Arleth. Yeah. Oh, how's Hank doing? I haven't heard from him in ages. Glad to hear he's still teaching.
Up in Alaska and happy.
Oh yeah, he was in Alaska the last time I talked to him. Okay, any other questions? Robert? Saw you. Was that a hand?
Oh, I populated my development shells. Thank you.
Good, you're safe.
And so one of these days I'll get it to Priest River.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a friend of mine bought some property up there and wants me to check it out, but
That is a
a
beautiful.
little bit cold for me.
Yeah, it gets a little cool in the winter, though. It's not like the northern Idaho, the top part of the panhandle is a banana belt. Though I've yet to see the bananas hanging off the trees, but it's relatively warm. We're at the same latitude as Glacier National Park, but we're about 60 or 70 miles west.
West, yeah.
We get the last breath of the warm ocean air coming over the Cascades. So it's we get a lot of snow, but I've actually had I've experienced colder temperatures in Georgia than I have here in the winter.
Thank you very much, Dave. I appreciate your tips tonight.
I appreciate you coming. Anything else? Yeah, on any topic, I'll be happy to answer anything I can.
All right, on any topic. Are you going to be the one to teach us how to use the new email, or they're going to have somebody from the loft do it?
Probably not.
Okay.
My boss is trying to keep us out of away from being the Office 365 trainers.
So,
Because
Carlin,
that's IT's patch. We quite frankly don't have the bandwidth to handle that. We have enough trouble with Canvas and Zoom and the other stuff related to online, and to have everybody at the district coming to us for help with Office 365 might be a tad more than the very few people we have. Witness the fact they've had to keep a superannuated old goat like me on as a consultant all this time because the district wouldn't let them hire somebody who still has a brain as a full-time employee. So we're probably not going to be doing that.
Carlin, have you not been able to access your
Is there
email?
any questions that I can? Yes, sir.
I was asking Carlin if she's not been able to access her email.
Now, the problem is when you first go into the email, they have some selected ones.
Yeah.
I can't figure out how to get them off the list. I don't want them there. And then I finally, and over on the left, I select Outlook,
Mm-hmm.
and then the whole one will come up, but sometimes it shuts me out.
I've heard that.
instead.
Yeah, I've heard
And
that.
so I've learned to bear with that, but then I can't find those stupid ones that keep coming up as reminders that I want to delete, that are on the announcement page, and I
Right.
don't care. And then off to the right, it says something about book. There's 3 books listed. I don't know what they are. I don't want them.
Is this
It's-
in the web client or the main Outlook client?
It's the new Outlook.
New
You
Outlook.
go into
Yeah,
office.com, and this is what opens up.
gotcha.
And then if you want Outlook, it's the Microsoft programs are over on the left. On
Right,
the menu, like your dark gray one. And
right.
one of them says Outlook, which is our email.
And that's the full Outlook
Yeah, it's the full one,
application.
but the funny part is when you click on it, like I said, sometimes it logs me out of the whole thing.
Yeah, I've heard that they're having a few teething issues with that, and that's not surprising, unfortunately. At least you can still get to your email. That's the main thing.
Well, now I can get to it. It took me
Yeah,
a week.
right, that wasn't automatic right off the bat, but they're fixing that.
Yeah, slowly. And then I'm not getting
Takes time.
emails, but that I know are sent. Now I forgot what, oh, I have a question. When you do these workshops,
Mhm.
you set up little dummies and everything. Do you ever go back and delete a bunch of that stuff?
By dummies, you mean like blank courses and so on?
Yeah, blank courses.
Yeah, I do clean some of those out from time to time. I keep some of them on hand and reuse them, like that one I used today.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do try to keep it from getting too many courses in there because then I'll never be able to find anything.
Well,
But you can't do that. Only a system administrator can delete a course shell from the system.
well, no,
So what you have to do is remove it from your dashboard if you don't want to be tripping on it anymore.
now I was more concerned with, like you set up, well, we'll just do this quiz and a couple numbers here. Well, then you got another quiz that you've created,
Right,
or short little examples of things that you're going to load up.
right. Those don't generally take up any room, so to speak.
Okay.
So I don't worry too much about that. And they may come in handy in the next session that I do.
One of those things I stay awake at night wondering about.
No, you don't have to worry about that.
It's how
If
full
do
your
you know how to remove?
how full your files are.
Right. Well, the only thing you have to worry about is the amount of file storage space you're using in a particular Canvas shell. That can't be more than 2 gigabytes. And you can exceed that if you're not careful. That's something to worry about. Worrying about the number of courses you have on the system is not your problem. We have so much storage space on there, and they keep increasing it as we need it. The state pays for it. We don't worry about it. And Canvas courses, at least to date, are never removed from the system. So if you taught a course back the first semester, we used Canvas, that course is still on the system, and you still have access to it in your courses list in the global access menu. And you can go back there and look at it. You can pull content from it. You can look and see how students did in that class. If somebody comes back 10 years later and has and claims that they didn't get the right grade or whatever, you can go in there and you can pull that data out and we can use it. So it's never, take care, Carol. You never have to worry about that. All data are stored and indefinitely on.
Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming.
Oh, always like to listen to you. Bye.
You need a life, Carlin. Go talk to your horses.
do. I even
They're
fed
more
the
intelligent.
I even fed my horses during our meeting.
Oh,
I have a life.
take care. That's wonderful.
The only other one I need to do is using whiteboard in Zoom.
Oh, so
And
should I take that as a request to schedule that one sometime soon?
I thought I saw it scheduled.
Nope. It's
Oh.
there's more than one recording
Okay.
online, but I haven't got a live one scheduled for yet. I'll probably do that in September.
I'm putting on a Zoom workshop August 11th. You helped me the other day getting in and out and why
Right.
things weren't working right. And so I've got one of my friends, a fellow teacher, that she's going to be my guinea pig tomorrow.
Oh, good.
So I can try
Practice,
it all
practice,
out.
practice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me know if anything comes up and there's something
Oh,
I can do to help.
you know I will.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you, Dave. Bye.
Bye-bye.